You don't know what she was doing to you in a past life and how she killed you as a old I'm sorry. I'm making sure I'm getting my development with clarity through Ashley to make sure she does not receive the words with unclarity. But I said, you don't understand how that aunt, what that aunt did to you in a past life to make you feel this way in this life where you don't even want her touching you. But there's this prerequisite, yes, I say prerequisite, on the earth that makes you feel like you have to come across these boundaries, of feelings that you don't like, and to tell yourself that developing is going through the feelings without feeling them and realizing the feeling is telling you this is burning yourself. It's time to let go. It's time to turn around. You're hurting yourself because it hurts to be there. You don't let the aunt touch you. You let it go. You let the parents be mad at you. If the parents are going to hit you, why aren't you reporting the parents? If you report the parents and it doesn't work out, that is when you run away from home and you let God take you into God's hands. You do not let others hit you. You do not let others put you into a situation that can cause vulnerability like it did in a past life when that aunt would have killed you for being her loyal comrade who she was unloyal to and killed you in a past life just as a buddy, just as a friend, just killed you. And now that is an aunt in a past life trying to treat you better, trying to pay off their karma by giving you money as an aunt in this life. And I'm telling her, trust us to say this. She's saying that this depiction is not of any aunt she has ever known, or any aunt she knows at this time. This is just an example of depiction. Not you, not of any aunt who's watching. It is not you, just so you know. It's just a clear depiction of an example, and I just used the word. I just used the family member of an aunt for this time. Or maybe it's you to be looking at an aunt. Actually, just because you are an aunt doesn't mean the example is about you. It is about you and your aunt instead. Realize that. So anyway, it is about you now realizing that these feelings are telling you something. It is not about overlooking, and Ashley's doing astronomically clear. Little did you know, she can do a quick clear, astronomically quick clear with her hands. Little did you know. But I will tell you this, doing that is always and only always based on the feeling that she gets first. She gets a feeling, then she understands what it is coming from. And it tells you this. It tells you that you're always safe within the feeling if you know where it is coming from. If you know where the feeling is coming from. And yeah, that is talking to you, Crystal. Because if you know where the feeling is coming from, you know that you know when you are connected. Sorry to do that to you, Crystal. They said I shifted you a little bit by accident. It shifted Ashley too. What I tell you is that when I make this depiction of clarity, it's for you to understand that it's not for you to make the development of worry if I overlooked or if I overpassed a feeling, but to make this awareness that now I'm understanding that this feeling makes a difference in my life. Little did you know, having that aunt around you made no success possibly to even happen because she was not repaying her own karma. And her own karma was spilling over into you. And now you have to repay some of her debts because she's hanging around you too often. And she's paying you with unlawful karma. Unfortunately, it has happened that way ever since the development that Ashley has mentioned in her past video. I say her past life video because that was almost a past life with what you will realize is a video coming up next, actually. Unfortunately, she would say she was not expecting a video to go in this direction. Unfortunately for you, if you would only want to live in a lie, but to live in a lie is never the truth, and if it's never the truth, it never feels alright. Never feels alright. So you need to know that if you are not feeling alright, always, all around, on your day-to-day, is because you overlooked one feeling at a one time, that one aunt that you didn't want to kiss you, who kissed you every Sunday and every day that she saw you in between that, and let you know that even though you don't want her, you will receive her anyway. And that is what tells you how it leads you in a certain direction of knowing you don't want something and always receiving it anyway. Why do you do that to yourself? Why do you always receive it anyway? Why do you want to receive the darkness? Why do you want to see? Why do you want to receive what doesn't have its information for you? Why is there hidden information in this? Why is there not clear intuition? This is my aunt. She doesn't feel good because she has a lack of development and she's not helping me in this life. If I'm with her, she will disadvantage me. Why did I not receive that intuition? Why is it not telling me this? It's not telling me this because there's something more advanced that is happening. There is something more advanced that is not allowing the aunt's depiction of manipulation toward her nieces and nephews, or her sons and daughters. She is not creating a depiction of clarity to them. So it might just be a manipulation of wanting them to be nice to her that day, but not realizing that when crying to get them to be nice to her that day, she doesn't realize that she's crying for them to not be organic and to not be themselves that day. And to be themselves that day cost them whether they could have that girlfriend or not. Cost them whether they would have that job at that interview and nail it just right, because they aren't being themselves just right. They aren't being themselves again. And then they start to get felt by other people's intuition. And the other people's intuition will say, something feels a little funny, like that aunt felt a little funny, not telling you her real intentions of wanting to be nice just so you can be nice. Not actually being nice because she loves you. Not actually being nice because she doesn't care what you do that day, but she has your back. Not just being nice because she is a nice person, but being nice because she cares about the way you respect her in a way. Not realizing that respect comes from an organic feeling of intuition. I respect you no matter what. It's not a depiction of always niceness, always saying hi to me, always giving me a hug and a kiss, and then saying goodbye in a certain way. That is the weird stuff that makes you feel unsafe. Why do I have to say goodbye to you in a certain way? Why can't I feel the way I feel and say goodbye or nothing? Nothing at all. And you trust me. You trust that what I say is what I needed to say, and I needed to be free anyway, because you love me anyway. It's supposed to be that way. Unconditional love. Anyway, you love me, and you don't think that I don't love you all of a sudden to create a dramatic story, a drama situation for us to be painful about. Why are we being painful about this? Painful about how I said hi to you or bye or not? Painful about this? Painful if I had a bad day and I couldn't consent to you that day to give you love? I didn't even have love to give myself. Now I have to give you this undeveloped amount of energy that I don't even have a capacity to give. But now you have to call me disrespectful and rude and uncanny and unsure about myself because I do not have the development to give you energy that you do not actually need as an adult. When you are consulting with a non-elder adult, if you are consulting with a non-elder adult, you leave them alone and you give them the space like that. You don't have to ask them what they're doing that day or where they're going or how they have eaten or how they are doing, unless they feel a need to question you about whether you have food for them, maybe something like that. But not in a way to underappreciate yourself and create a development that all that matters is what you do for that person and how that person treats you back. Because when you value, instead of what you do for that person as just truth, instead you value what you receive back, then suddenly you're in an evil depiction of constantly creating this awkward scenario of what they have to be like for you. And if they're being this way for you, suddenly they're horrible, and then you hate them as well. You actually cause a feeling of resentment that you have toward them. And you wish you didn't know that I coughed about you that way. Yes, I coughed about you that way. The darkness coughed about you that way. You know it was about you. Only you. No, it was about you. You're the only one who feels this way. Now she doesn't know what I'm talking about. That's the darkness. But I will let you know. That feeling that you talk about, it's not an uncanny feeling as well. And yes, now she receives this. She receives that too. And there is you actually. But anyway, it's not to make it any different depiction because she depicts that she highlights, so to say, that she remains in neutrality, and it's organically in neutrality. She doesn't know what is happening, but she will see a true love essence and will understand what is going on. True love as in there is a family member involved where that the higher self has an energy of true love, but the human in form cannot depict that access to that true love because it does not yet have access to the higher self due to trauma and different things developing. When we see you, Clemens Fairbrain, it's not for you to worry about anything about that family member. They're gone. It's not for you to see gone as in a negative way. They won't be gone from a negative circumstance or negative perspective. You always have contact with them if you're wanting to. But God says to have a very strict awareness of who you are dealing with from that current perspective. In a way, it is not safe if you think about it that way without thinking about it in trust of who feels right and who is feeling the truest. If you think about the darkness, as I no longer speak as the darkness, this comes through now as Source God, Jesus Christ, Mother Nature. As you know, this development comes as Ashley receives memory loss, as the depiction of shifting over from the darkness, as she knows she felt already, was making a big difference in her energy field. But it's just to say, as Source God, Jesus Christ, Mother Nature, that I only see a development of darkness, going away for all of eternity, every eternity, ever, forever. And then darkness making a gentle way of transitioning into the temporary realm of forgetfulness of its ever existence. I'm saying it just like that, and actually make sure she's receiving it in sacred clarity. And now she makes even more sacred clarity by doing an astronomical clearing. When you do this way, it's not time to see this as a negative depiction, but now she knows what we are talking about. But that to see it as, if you understand what the darkness is talking about, and how that unsacred aunt could have killed you in a past life, and is trying to take all your energy and is swindling you from your good karma that you are deserving of, and forcing you into their negative karma by continually perpetuating negativity, but by making you a conduit to negativity, by always pulling you in without you even realizing it through the unsacred manipulation and the ignoring of your intuition in that moment that you're not feeling right around them, and allowing them to kiss you, to even kiss you, but you don't feel okay around them. She thinks of an awkward uncle that she hasn't kissed in several years, almost 10 years or something, but she can remember that awful feeling, and she knew not to kiss that uncle ever again. And she stopped kissing him very early on. Little did she know she would stay very far away from them, and didn't realize how undeveloped any energy with that person had become. She just didn't pay attention to it. It would happen organically for her. She didn't like it, so it wouldn't happen. Her higher self would work on that as well to make an easier transition into becoming the higher self without feeling the stresses of understanding why and what is going on behind the scenes, but just feeling a natural way of stepping away. That's how we follow our intuition, a natural way of stepping away, not to overthink and think about it too much, or to make the person wrong, As she does an astronomical clearing for some reason at this time. It's not to make a certain development and not realize that there are uncanny energies presenting themselves to say certain things you are not receiving. You only receive the imagery that I tell you, Clemens Rabbi, and you will receive the unsacred thing that is being sent your way at this time. Your way in the development of you and your soulmate's way, as you would have received, as you would have depicted already in your mind. As you could see the difference of, as you would see, receive already depicted in your mind, as she said it, compared to as it was starting to be said, made a difference. And you could feel the difference already. In the unsacred way that you could not retrieve it again. It's not unsacred in the way that she is wrong with anything she's doing. But the idea of going backwards to look back usually creates an unsacred air, so we keep her away from doing it. And when we keep her away like that, then other things will try to remind her of that thing we kept her away from, and that really isn't helping that way. That is where all this demonism began to take place, in places where I allowed it, and it began to flourish and develop in a new way where it was illegal now, and it was no longer allowed to be happening that way. That's where we talk about the mafia and gang violence, and we say it becomes from a schooling development, a school-like development, to something like the mafia, where it's now illegal because it becomes too damaging to society, too damaging to those involved, too damaging at all. And there's no point really at all. So if there's no point in it, I, Source God, Jesus Christ, within nature, will no longer keep it involved as well. So that is what I would say as Source God, Jesus Christ, within nature, to Clemens Rabbi. I will step in because this is a secondary video made after two astronomical videos, this one and the one upcoming, that has a little bit of a different development that we did not plan to make within the video, but as I received certain depictions within the timeline of creating the video, I decided to make a certain redirection within that video that wound up to be about 2 hours long. So you will see that video incoming very soon. Right now, Ashley's channeling has become very adept in her ability to channel with clarity and direct and real time, is allowing me to use her awareness as an assistance for others in this way as much as I can, until we are able to assist her with her real purpose of being a mother. The soul as Source God, Jesus Christ, Mother Nature, as this fall runs out of memory, as Ashley realizes that she says her true life purpose in the improper order, as she said, her purpose of being a mother, and then the purpose of being true love soulmate, and immediately alerted herself as soon as she said the word mother that her first purpose is always to be her soulmate. First, most important, and only, and very only, very monogamous, and very faithful, and very loyal to that serious, sacred monogamy. We do not play like that. And the sacred monogamy is development without the true law. Purpose is the number one purpose above all purposes of anything ever. Why is there another purpose that's more important that's involved? How would that even ever be truly possible, really? That is to say, actually, true purpose of being your perfect and well-developed, as she would say, in a past life, as she was hoping to be for you. True love, and I will tell you, holy and wholesome, true love your only true love soulmate. And I say only, not for no reason, but I'll say as soon as she receives that, her depiction in her mind is that she does not want to know. You can feel that clearance in her mind of why. You can feel that why. You can already feel that why. And now we can receive that motherhood. Her motherhood. And I'll tell you right now, Clemens Revine, because you don't know about this being so potent for you to hear right now and today. But her depiction of having 8 or 9 or even 10 or something, almost actually like 100 children for you. God allowing, and she would say, God willing, and God wills it for you. Clemens Revine. She sees a big family. 4, and I say 4, and with, and again I say and for you, just you. She never had this depiction of how many children she would want. She would always say 4 in her mind, maybe 4, or maybe somehow if I had a lot of twins, maybe it would develop into 8. Maybe I could have 4 pregnancies and have 8 children. Now she gets a depiction in her hips of how uncanny that would feel, and she would always say 4. Ever since after high school, she would never say anything more than 4 until you came in the picture. Then you came in the picture, and suddenly it was 6, and suddenly it was 8, and now it's 9 and 10. We were wondering if even 10 was going to be possible by this time. But I will tell you, Clemens Revine, I know that you are in a development this way where you are aware of something that you actually like about our true love, Ashley here, so to speak, is that she is developing with you in a certain way that is different from how the masses will develop with one another. And she makes a clear depiction of how she was declaring because of an astronomical energy that just came your way in your mind. And you can see why. She feels a depiction of the energy in her hips, feeling so unsafe that she has to protect herself. She makes that depiction for us to do the clearing for her because the energy feels so stark. Doing the channeling. It's not for you to realize that a certain energy is attacking our daughter, and I'll tell you what I mean by that later. It's not for you to realize that our true love daughter is being attacked by certain energies, and that you wouldn't have an influence in some way in that being that way, instead of doing an astronomical clearing of yourself by clearing any unsacred energies in the way that the darkness is talking about for you. That is to say, not to say anything else, but to say in her hips it got worse. I would say in a development to know that maybe it got worse because the awareness of who we're speaking about has gotten stark enough for the awareness of the person who would unfortunately always, and I say always, all the time, almost on aloof, always be watching. Why are you always watching in that way? It's what I say. Source, God, Jesus Christ, Mother Nature. As I say it that way. Why would you always be watching? Why always? Why not just sometimes here and there? Why are you paying so much attention that way? Why are you paying so much attention that way? It's telling you something about that being of non-light, Clemens Revine. It's telling you something about that being of unlight. Why are you doing that? Why are you paying so much attention to me? Why are you paying so much attention to me and doing that to me? Doing me like that. Why are you doing me like that? See? Doing me like that. Why do you come out that way? I didn't want Ashley to say it like that. And she feels that in her hips. it got really strong that she was saying that just before. She couldn't say it because the development came out so fast. It's letting you know that she's infiltrated sometimes by the energies that want to tell you that she is ugly and that she is fake, and not telling you things that are in a clear depiction of who you see that she already is. She gets into clear, unpsychic clarity where she starts doing this delay to make sure she hears what she's saying, but it is only the stark awareness that her hips are doing this unsacred thing, and she's supposed to do a clearing herself, because she knows that this way she will feel it in exchange. If we do the clearing, it takes some time, because she says we do it gentle that way. We don't do it gentle that way for no reason. We do it gentle that way because we have compassion. She does it a little more forceful because she feels the difference in her system, and she cannot have it this way, so she will force the energy out this way. It's not for you to realize how difficult it is for her to navigate the telephone and do this action of clearing on herself, and she doesn't have the capacity to understand why she would have to be doing this clearing anyway for someone like this, and she stops it saying she has to do it in a different way. She did one of the biggest clearings she knows how to do. And now she does an even bigger one that she knows not to expand upon any further, because it is a way coming through now. But if you see for you feel as you can feel now coming from her, you'll feel a change whenever you have her around. It's not for you to feel a change all of a sudden and then go off into another place and tell yourself another thing about a sacred place that you are in, that you are already aware of, that you've been in already, and tell yourself something about it later on that day. Instead, tell yourself all the things you know about it right in front of you, when it is there right in front of you. See all the distortion she still has coming around. She said she still has, but I said is still staying around. Why is she receiving it that way? She even received staying as a foreign statement, as if I didn't say it that way. She needs to do an astronomical clearing. This happens to her quite often. It happens to her because she tells herself that she hates it this way, but we'll show her a certain depiction of something that happens to her in her reality, say racism or prejudice with the way she presents herself. And when she experiences these things this way, we tell her that there's a certain experience that's happening on the other side of things with you, where it is a certain feeling that she is having, as an experience that you are having in this way, experiencing something like this in your own reality in this way, and she experiences it with you. And she hates it this way because she hates that if she experiences something challenging, it means you are experiencing something challenging too. She does not want you. She does not want to know that you are now experiencing something challenging to her. Not that she does not want to know that you are not experiencing something, that you are experiencing something challenging to her. Is that she doesn't want to know that it is a true reality for you, that you are also experiencing this terrible experience too. And then she wonders if this means you two will not be together in this life, even ever. And she says that in her past life videos, if we ever weren't to be together, that I would be alone. Undishearteningly, but dishearteningly, truthfully, always and forever. I say undishearteningly, but she always has your higher self and never feels alone, but dishearteningly, because how stark and impossibly painful could it be to live in a world where you have a true love soulmate that does not have a depiction of truth, of truthful awareness of who you are. She felt her emotion developing, and then she felt the feeling of it being taken away from her, as if another energy was changing the subject on her, making her feel uncanny, like she's unimportant, and her feelings didn't mean anything. Who do your feelings mean something? It only means this a certain way because blah blah blah. And then she'll say something stupid and uncanny. Yeah, I say she. Did you realize that all the people around you are making depictions of uncanny realities that make different senses to you, different senses because it reminds you of certain things you've experienced in the past. Okay, it could make sense in a certain way, in a certain development, if I only ignore all of my special intuitive awarenesses that I know are special to only me. And that's why I need to experience reality as just me, and not experience reality from the lenses of somebody else who's different than me. I am special. I am special. And I am different this way. And it does work that way, Clemens Rabine. Yes, it does. It works that way. When you are good in your heart and Ashley feels violated for a certain period of time, maybe about 30 seconds now, or 25 seconds. She feels uncanny, looking at the time, feeling like it could have been 5 seconds. I tell her it's 25 to 30 seconds. There's no way it was 5 seconds. You're feeling violated and insecure, and your body was numbing you. Now you feel it because it wasn't not continuing. As it continued, you received the alert system. Your higher self, your system, gives some warning space and allow some space for the development to take place of your intuition saying, no, this is not okay. When the other does not respond, does not respect our boundaries, that is when you receive the awareness that an astronomical clearing is required, and that does not happen this way. It's not fun to go through doing an astronomical clearing at any time of the day because you're uncanny about what is happening in your awareness. It is not that certain energies come out and play and mess around with you all the time, but they are telling you that something is happening in your life that is showing you what is really happening behind the scenes about important things for your life. And Ashley swandles herself into memory loss and finds out that the only reason she has that is because of the lack of awareness of our awareness on a certain topic. As she realizes that there was a certain topic, a certain subject and she acknowledges you, Clemens Rabine, as she does the clearing, that she knows that you can feel something about it, but she does the clearing anyway and tries to depict an awareness of seriousness, that she still has an awareness to do this properly. But she doesn't realize that actually messes her up a little bit and tells her that an insecurity comes up, that if she pays attention to you, it makes a difference in any way but a positive way. She couldn't hear a negative way because she wouldn't see it that way with you, but she did see it as a way of holding her conviction around others, and she needs to know that it is an awareness that we present our truths and our reality, and she knows that conviction is not a safe energy to be in anymore, ever again, after this current reality that we have had ourselves in. And what she makes the development about is that she was staring at a building. The building has an astronomical amount of energy that is not good for, say, any establishment ever. And it's a very popular establishment. I say, don't mention the name. I say Walgreens is not a very good establishment because they make an awareness of something that they know they should not be doing, but they are doing it anyway. I do not say this about places like CVS, who Ashley frequented many lifetimes, as she depicts in her awareness many lifetimes as in this one lifetime to you, but many lifetimes as in the developments of Ashley in this way, creating a separate lifetime to create a new timeline and a bunch of different realities she would not have had in another, so to speak, life. And she sees herself staring at the building again. As the building turned off its lights, it depicted something about an awareness that we all had together just now. That awareness, as we presented it going away, the light shut off. It was a red light. As it shut off, it went away. But suddenly, 3 little dots came up again, and these lights wouldn't shut off. Now they shut off, because I shut them off. She an astronomical clearing again, and the light comes back on. She doesn't realize that she's doing it this way as well, to be a little paranoid and create an extra trauma that is happening, where she feels a little embarrassed now. She wishes she did not do that in front of you. She worries a lot that she will not be developed enough for you in a way that you will think she is too stark or uncanny, or she isn't doing this way, or she would be doing it, and if she could be doing it this way, then she would be doing it right. She stares at the 3 dots again, accidentally. She knows not to look that way after she does an astronomical clearing anyway. And then she yawns, which is a natural development to let you know that, like I said, in a future video you would say, you will see that gases, say burps, and through the other way, and yawns. I say through the other way to not sound uncanny when I say farts. With farts, it just sounds informal, so you don't say that often, but I felt an uncanny energy making it feel unreal, so I'll say gases and farts. And if you yawn, these are not general sensations that I made in it. These are not specifications for the body to be making. If the body makes any of these specifications, as Ashley just made contact with the 3 lights again and almost yawned, if the body makes any of these specifications, then it is letting you know that there is demonic energy somewhere in the field. It is letting you know that demonic energies are trying to convince you of connection. And if you do not connect with it thoroughly, it will produce for you, say, a fart or a current development of a gas as she feels uncanny and insecure. Speaking about this right now, she feels an uncanny energy. Like, I feel like the feeling of feeling violated. Let's go a bit down. And she wants to make the depiction clear that in another video, she made an astronomical clearing, doing something that she calls is a sacred language that she knows about. It's a language that she knows about with repetitive words and everything. And she received an understanding and awareness that somebody who watched it very quickly with you. By that time, she had not expected that anybody but you would be watching it this way. She does not expect anybody but you to be watching things right away. She's not expecting that kind of energy towards her in any way, except by you. So in the first 3 or so views, she received an energy telling her that she was crazy for speaking in tongues. And what she found was that tongues felt very offensive because she knew that she was speaking a language. And how dare you have such lack of awareness of a language in this way that you would automatically hear a new or different and a holy sacred language and say something like tongues right away, because you don't understand the depiction of tongues actually meaning, say, a mother tongue or a sacred tongue, a language, but because it's used in a certain way, you who had used this way of depicting things. And I say this as a current development, that I would not say you as someone who is belonging in, say, this video, but you as in somebody who is addressing this topic of Ashley here, and Clevin's thereby way too often that it becomes unsacred and impure for you to be doing this that way as a unmarried, now married technically, kind of woman. Ashley is now shocked in a way by how she's hearing this depiction, because she does not receive this in this current way, or she does not realize this in this current way. Is what she's realizing as her hips shift, that she is understanding that she received several depictions of what a true unsacred reality could be that is there, and she worries sometimes about it. However, she's trusting. She is trusting in her soulmate Clandon's red bind while she feels these terrible feelings that she sent, that she will make the depiction that I know has nothing to do with my love. I can feel the separation of where the energy is coming from. She knows that her love did not send this unsacred, unpure energy, that because of her love, that this topic was not unsacred and impure, but your depiction that you are projecting onto it so strong and so viscerally insecure you are to send these visceral pains to these people this way. And so you send these pains of insecurity that you are impure to. There is no way another won't be impure to. And that is just not true. Did you hear the word God? Have you heard of the truth that is purely within God's true sacred essence? Did you know about that? Did you know that God is really true? Did you ask God, hey God, have you been true to us? Is this really true? Is this really my true depiction? And I would say no. I would say no, unsacred. She does not know what she's receiving here, because the word is an astronomically unclear word that you would not receive very well. So she did not receive it as a higher self to receive it this way to say. So instead I'll say an astronomical bounce of unsacred, impure energy is what I would say to you. Is why you haven't found the development to look my way, because you know I would say these unsacred and impure things about you and the way you are looking at things today. Not the way you are being organically in the day-to-day because of the way you are looking at things, but the way you are looking at things and what that will create for yourself going forward now. The way you are looking at things and how that created your past to be a certain way, to lead you to a certain path, to feel a certain way now. A certain path that led you to feel a certain way that feels a little less sacred than you were a few moments ago. Just a few unsacred, unholy years ago. Yeah, I said just a few unsacred and unholy years ago. You were feeling a lot better about yourself. And now, after these unholy and unsacred words in your mind and your head about this development of unholily you, as she doesn't say you in an organic way, because she saw the way I was going to say you and then say a depiction of someone else who does not have a sacred connection to you, so it does not count. But I say now unholily you, and the act of connecting yourself in some way in your mind unholily to our sacred friend, who always has pure and genuine intentions of true, organic, platonic love and friendship. True, organic, platonic love within a friendship. That's what it comes to. Platonic, organic love, platonic love. It's just love, organic, platonic. We are loving beings organically. See how we develop with an animal? That's organic, platonic love. It shows you that in darkness you can even see love if you see a cute, sacred animal. Only if the love is from a sacred animal will you feel that depiction of love. If you are with unholy animals, you may not see it that way as so well. But in that depiction, us of holiness, we feel that love everywhere. And we feel that love in greatness because we can tell the depiction, the difference between unsacredness and darkness and holiness and light. So we stick with holiness and light and we know we are safe there. And it always feels like love everywhere we go, just like the sacred and unsacred animals. They know the difference. And as she feels this development in her hips, that she does not feel okay, we need to stop looking at her like that. We need to stop looking at her that way. She makes a depiction in her next video of how she feels like a feeling of violation that she feels, and as she sees the light again coming on to her awareness, and as she feels cold, it chills in her spine, and she feels a feeling like she needs to stop. But the uncanny awareness is that she receives a feeling of feeling violated in a way that a man will violate her in his mind, and that feeling will make her know that she has to do a big demonic clearing in that moment, in that unsacred and unholy time, where she used to feel this a lot of times when she lived in Hawaii. Clemens Redline, she had a big astronomical clearing to do in that unholy city of Hawaii that she lived in, where there were so many uncanny developments that she would have not have ever known about. But that's how she found out how to clear demonic entities within Hawaii, where she had to clear so many energies from you and from her accidentally. She did not realize she was clearing them from you as well. But they were her energies that she was receiving. She was only receiving them as a depiction of something you were going through as well. Both of you being fed a lie. She was being fed a lie that she had to develop further for you to make it organically happen, that you two ran into each other on the street or something like that. And then you had this lie that she wasn't wanting you that way because she had no money to see you again. She used her only money to see you, and that money didn't come a sacred way. It came in an unsacred way from a familial bout of negative energy. You see me say negative, and it